Welcome, quiz lovers! This is Which Came First Challenge, where you'll see two things and must decide which one appeared first. Some answers might surprise you, so keep track of your score and see how many you can get right. Ready to play? Let's get started. Which came first, the egg or the chicken? That's right, the egg came first by millions of years. Which came first, Pepsi or Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola came first. It was invented 13 years earlier than Pepsi. Which came first, Spider-Man or Superman? The answer is Superman. Spider-Man came later. Which came first, Nike or Adidas? Adidas was established 15 years earlier than Nike. Which came first, the sun or the moon? The sun. It existed about 100 million years before the moon. Which came first, Netflix or YouTube? Netflix came first by almost a decade. Which came first, cake or ice cream? Cake came first. It's been around for thousands of years before ice cream appeared. Which came first, Bugs Bunny or Mickey Mouse? That's right, Mickey Mouse. He debuted in 1928, about 12 years before Bugs Bunny. Which came first, Fortnite or Minecraft? The answer is Minecraft. It was launched 8 years earlier than Fortnite. Which came first, the telephone or the light bulb? That would be the telephone. It came a few years earlier. Time for memory check. Remember the exact position of these 6 logos. Do you remember where Pepsi logo was? Good job. Pepsi was in number 3. Which came first, McDonald's or KFC? KFC started 10 years earlier than McDonald's. Which came first, the guitar or the piano? The guitar appeared centuries before the piano. Which came first, The Lion King or Aladdin? That would be Aladdin. The Lion King came much later. Which came first, Apple or Microsoft? Microsoft beat Apple by just 1 year. Which came first, eraser or pencil? The pencil. Erasers were added later. Which came first, basketball or volleyball? Basketball came first, invented in 1891, about 4 years before volleyball. Which came first, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi? Bluetooth was invented first, about 2 years before Wi-Fi. Which came first, books or movies? Books existed thousands of years before movies. Which came first, Toy Story or Shrek? Toy Story came first 6 years before Shrek. Which came first, Google Maps or Apple Maps? Google Maps was released earlier than Apple Maps. Which came first, microwave ovens or dishwashers? Dishwashers existed decades before microwave ovens. Which came first, Barbie doll or Lego? The answer is Lego. It was invented before Barbie existed. And you spot which hair actually belongs to Barbie. Look carefully. Which one looks just right on Barbie? Next, which came first, the invention of the wheel or the discovery of fire? Fire came first. It existed hundreds of thousands of years before the wheel. Which came first, the state of California or the state of Arizona? California joined the US 62 years earlier than Arizona. Which came first, Pablo Picasso or Vincent van Gogh? The answer is Van Gogh. He was born 28 years earlier than Picasso. Which came first, Harry Potter or the Lord of the Rings movies? The first Harry Potter movie came out a month earlier. Which came first, the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt or the Colosseum in Rome? The Great Pyramid existed more than 2,500 years before the Colosseum. Which came first, orange color or orange fruit? The orange fruit came first and the color was named after it. Which came first, the Statue of Liberty or the Eiffel Tower? Correct. The Statue of Liberty was built 3 years earlier than the Eiffel Tower. Which came first, the bicycle or the wheel? The wheel existed thousands of years before the bicycle. Which came first, Yahoo or Google? The answer is Yahoo. It launched 4 years before Google. Which came first, the electric car or the gasoline car? Electric cars existed decades before gasoline cars. Which came first, the butterfly or the caterpillar? The caterpillar came first. Butterflies start as caterpillars. Which came first, printing press or telescope? That would be the printing press. It was created more than a century before the telescope. Which came first, Captain America or Iron Man? Captain America in 1941. Iron Man debuted in 1963. Which came first, the sea or the land? That would be the sea. Existed hundreds of millions of years before the land. Which came first, the backpack or the suitcase? The backpack came first. People carried things on their backs before suitcases. Which came first, fish or bird? That's right, fish existed hundreds of millions of years before birds. Which came first, calendar or clock? Calendars were used thousands of years before clocks. Which came first, Cinderella or Snow White? Snow White. Cinderella came out much later. Which came first, the jacket or the sweater? Jackets existed centuries before sweaters. Which came first, iTunes or Spotify? iTunes started 5 years earlier than Spotify. Which came first, the flashlight or the candle? The candle. People used them before electricity. Which came first, calculator or the computer? The calculator came first, centuries before the first computers. Which came first, Amazon or eBay? eBay started 1 year earlier than Amazon. Which came first, the discovery of electricity or the invention of the battery? Electricity was known long before the battery was created. Which came first, the Olympic Games or the Roman Empire? The Olympics existed centuries before the Roman Empire. Which came first, the iPod or the iPad? The iPod came out 9 years earlier than the iPad. Which came first, Star Wars or Star Trek? The answer is Star Trek. It appeared 11 years earlier than Star Wars. Which came first, mountain or valley? That would be mountains existed long before valleys. Only sharp eyes will see it. Can you find 3 differences? All right, comment yes if you nailed it. Panama Canal or Suez Canal, which came first? The Suez Canal was completed earlier than the Panama Canal. Which came first, Marvel Comics or DC Comics? DC Comics started 5 years earlier than Marvel Comics. Which came first, potato chips or popcorn? Popcorn existed thousands of years before potato chips. Which came first, the emoji or the hashtag? That would be hashtag. Which came first, matches or lighters? Matches were used decades before lighters. PlayStation or Xbox, which came first? The answer is PlayStation, released earlier than Xbox. Which came first, Taylor Swift's first album or Justin Bieber's first album? That's right, Taylor Swift's album came first. Which came first, Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts? Reels appeared a year earlier than Shorts. Which came first, M&M's or Skittles? Correct! M&M's were created decades before Skittles. Which came first, iPhone or Android phones? The iPhone launched 1 year earlier than Android phones. Which came first, t-shirt or jeans? Jeans came first, decades before the t-shirt. Which came first, skateboard or roller skates? The answer is roller skates, invented about 200 years before skateboards. Which came first, Pac-Man or Super Mario Bros? Pac-Man came first, Super Mario Bros. Was released later. Which came first, the drum or the violin? That's right, drums existed thousands of years before violins. Which came first, Pizza Hut or Domino's Pizza? Pizza Hut started 2 years earlier than Domino's. Which came first, chess or playing cards? Chess came first. It existed centuries before playing cards. It's time to test your eyes. The golden chess king is hiding in one of these boxes. Can you keep track of it? Comment your answer below, A, B, or C. If you got it right, you've got sharp eyes. Which came first, the washing machine or the vacuum cleaner? Washing machines existed decades before vacuum cleaners. Which came first, markers or crayons? Crayons came first, invented in 1903, while markers were invented later in the 1950s. Which came first, Milky Way or Kit Kat? Correct! Milky Way existed years before Kit Kat. Which came first, the Great Depression or World War II? The Great Depression came first, began in 1929, about 10 years before World War II. So how many did you get right? Amazing if you nailed them all. Let's share your score in the comments. We'd love to see how you did. Thanks for playing, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more cool quizzes.